afternoon. My name is Paul Provost, and I'm the board chair for the Preservation League of New York State. And I want to welcome all of you. I'm going to make a couple quick remarks, but before I do that, I want to introduce Michael Hernandez, who is the historian of this extraordinary building that we're meeting in today. And so I'm going to hand the podium over to Michael, who's going to tell us a little bit about the building and some housekeeping, and then I will be back shortly. Thank you, Michael. Very good.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Hernandez. I'm the historian here at the Albany Masonic Temple. It's nice to see some familiar faces. So some of you may recall we hosted the Statewide Preservation Conference a couple of years ago. So welcome back to those who visited us during the conference, and welcome to those of you who have never been to our building before. This building was constructed in 1895-96, designed by the architectural firm of Fuller and Wheeler. It's done in the Renaissance Revival style of architecture. And it cost approximately $300,000 to build in 1895-96. It's 5 stories, counting the banquet hall floor. Currently, we're in the Tennite Quadrant, named in honor of James Tennite, who lived just a few short blocks from here. But the property itself is actually historic, as it's the property which the first lodge house was built in the United States in 1768. So there's been a Masonic building in the city of Albany on this property for over 250 years. And our first Masonic lodge was actually founded not that far from here on Beaver and Green Streets in the late 1750s, early 1760s. So Freemasonry has a very long and storied history here in the city of Albany. And we're very happy to partner with the Preservation League of New York State and other worthwhile organizations to support the excellent work that they do. So I hope that you find this a very fruitful event, and again, welcome to our building. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And again, welcome today, and welcome to the League's program on state historic tax credit transferability. We put this program together to share information on some of our 2019 priorities. And among those are achieving transferability for New York State tax credits and historic tax credits, and making those tax credits much more efficient. Special thanks to Michelle and Caroline Rob-Zaleski, who are sponsors for this program and really made it possible, and we have Caroline with us today, so thank you very much. And thank you too to our distinguished speakers that we've got lined up. All of them have traveled to be here with us, and they are here to really share some insights on how other states are maximizing their efforts with tax credits to maximize their impact. Most all of you know about the League, but since 1974, the League has really built a reputation and prides itself on action and effectiveness, and I think this program is really indicative of that. Our goal has been to preserve historic buildings, historic districts and landscapes, and to build a better New York State, one community at a time. So with that, I'm going to hand things over to Erin, and then say to all of you, thanks again for being here, and enjoy the program. Thanks. Very good.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today, for your interest in historic tax credits and the fascinating world of historic tax credit transferability. As Paul said, the Preservation League is New York statewide nonprofit. If you haven't been to our headquarters, we're just up the street, and we love to have visitors. And we don't just advocate for effective preservation policies. We do a host of other things. Perhaps you've come to one of our recent grant workshops. Francis and Jana, and shortly I will have been traveling around the state talking about our grant programs, and our annual reports are on the table if you want to learn more. But this is, today is really about the state historic tax credit, and specifically about transferability of the state historic tax credit. For a little bit of background, I have the basic information about our state historic tax credit program. It really became the program we all know today in 2009, although the state program was established in 2007, and that's a program that lives in perpetuity, but the 2009 historic tax credit renews every 5 years. And everybody here was instrumental in helping us get that extension passed last year. So now it goes through 2024. And this is Governor Patterson signing that initial 2009 expansion of our state historic tax credit program. New York State leads the nation, and we've led the nation for several years in the economic impacts of historic tax credit related investment. Those of you who will be joining us for our advocacy day tomorrow, you'll see these statistics and more when you're meeting with legislators. We love the talking point that almost 19,000 jobs were created in 2017 in New York State because of historic tax credit projects, that we lead in local, state, and federal tax generation as a result of historic tax credit projects. So we're doing really well, but we want to make sure that it's the best program it can possibly be. And so we're asking for several enhancements. These are what we did last year. We wanted to get it extended, we wanted to protect it from the federal historic tax credit, and there were a couple things that we wanted that we didn't get, like increasing the credit percentage for small projects. And we achieved, thanks to the State Historic Preservation Office's advocacy and the legislature and the governor, we achieved most of those goals, and we have a 2-year window on the census tract eligibility. But we want to do a little bit more this year, and while we were delighted to see the tax credit enhancement proposed in the governor's budget, which is to make all state park or owned properties qualify for the program, that means that they can bring private investment to historic properties, historic buildings that are owned by New York State Parks. We think that's a great initiative and a great enhancement. But there are a couple other things that we want to see. And we want to see, of course, transferability, which you'll hear about today. That increased credit for small projects that we saw last year. We're looking for a 30% tax credit for projects under $5 million. And we're asking for that because we've heard there's a demand for it across the board from our colleagues, our nonprofit colleagues, our developer colleagues, our consultant colleagues, because when you do a tax credit project, there's a floor on those consultant costs. You have to pay an architect and a lawyer and a consultant and an accountant no matter what. And when you have $500,000 historic tax credit, that's all you're getting back. That floor is a significant percentage of your tax credit. So increasing the credit for small projects to 30% for projects that cost under $5 million will really help make those small projects that are still really hard to get done a little bit easier. And then Assemblyman Sean Ryan from Buffalo at the end of last year introduced a bill to qualify cities under $1 million, cities that are in New York, with a significant poverty rate, qualify the entire city for the state historic tax credit. Here in Albany, we have a patchwork quilt of qualifying census tracts. You can live in a neighborhood that really needs the investment, but be 2-3 blocks from a qualifying census tract, and this is an issue really throughout the state. Because the State Preservation Office, through the law, is required every 5 years to review the census tract qualifications, there are some communities that qualify 1 year, and then they realize they're going to lose that qualification. And even though we have a 2-year transition window, which is great, we'd like to take that worry out, because really the entire city needs the economic redevelopment and economic revitalization. So that is our third primary tax credit enhancement. Now, the increased credit and the census tract boundary, those are pretty straightforward things to understand. Transferability, at least personally, I've been talking about it with colleagues for the last year and a half, and I'm trying to get it. I think I got it, but we wanted to put this program on so that all of you and us really understand how it's worked for other states, why this is important, figure out what it does, how it contributes to projects. It makes our tax credit worth more money. It makes it more valuable and more efficient. It doesn't cost our state a dime because they're still giving out that tax credit dollar. It just means that the investors and the developers aren't putting the capital back into the project. So we have a great panel panel here today, mostly from the Northeast, from Connecticut and Massachusetts and New York City, who will talk about their experience working with transferable historic tax credits and why they're so valuable from a variety of perspectives. Wes Haynes is going to start. Wes is on the bench, and everybody else is sitting up front. And Wes is, I'm not good at making these PDFs. Here we go. Wes is currently the executive director of and I'm at the end of his presentation, sorry about that. He's currently the executive director of the Merritt Parkway Conservancy, but is here as the former executive director of the Connecticut Trust for Historic Preservation, where he's currently an active member. Wes is also an active member and supporter and friend of the Preservation League of New York State. He's worked in preservation for many years, on the staff of the New York Landmarks Conservancy, the New Jersey Historic Trust, and in the late 80s, he helped launch the Preservation League's Preservation Services Program. So we're really delighted to have Wes here today, and for Wes to talk about how historic tax credit transferability has worked in Connecticut, and how the Connecticut Trust for Historic Preservation has seen the benefits of this program in their state. Thank you, Wes.